Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Money Manager app. This is not an app where you link it to your bank account. I was really struggling on whether I would review this app just because I've gotten so used to using the apps that you link your bank account to. I've got so used to how those work and how they work in tandem with my budget that I kind of forgot about the apps that are manual. But I don't want to leave anybody out. Some people who are not comfortable linking their bank accounts to apps, I want to have something for you guys too. And I want to be able to review apps that you might find helpful. I actually love this app. If I was somebody who didn't want to link my bank account to any apps, this is the app that so far that I've tested out that I would use. In the past, I've used a lot of different apps where you were entering them manually. This was before we really had options to link our bank accounts to any apps. But out of all the apps that I had used before, when I was testing out this app, I was like, they just blew those ones out of the water. Like it couldn't even compare. Like it just has so many things packed into this app to help you manage your money better and to stay on budget that it's not a one-trick pony. This app is not a one-trick pony, even though you cannot link it to your bank account. Free version, you pretty much get everything included with the free version of this app. When you upgrade, it just removes the ads. The ads don't really pop up like how they do on YouTube or when you're in the middle of playing a game on your phone. But when you first go in the app, if you want to like add a transaction or do something, the ad will pop up. So for this app will get rid of the ads. It will also allow you to use your PC. So it has a desktop feature also when you upgrade and unlock all of their features. You also get a chance to add unlimited bank accounts. I've tested it out and seen how many bank accounts I could add and categories and sub bank accounts. And in my opinion, you can add enough without having to upgrade. But just the fact that you do get to have a desktop feature, a lot of people might like the desktop feature that is included with this app. That's why I'm bringing it up and considering like, yes, you could buy this app. Guess how much this app costs? $6.50, okay? This app is dirt cheap and you get so many features. You even get a desktop feature. I'm speechless. The only thing is obviously you cannot link your bank account. Again, I'm going to mention that. But if you're someone who doesn't want to do that, this app might just be for you. I'm going to give it $1 of course, because it is dirt cheap and you get a whole bunch of different features. And I'm really excited to demonstrate this app, to show it to you, to review it with you guys. And hopefully this app is for somebody. Another thing is, if you recommend the app, you can also unlock the features that way. So you don't even really have to pay for it. I'm going to pay for it because it's a great app. Developers deserve to be paid. But you can also, if you don't have the money for it, you could recommend the app. You could use the free version, but you could also just recommend it and get all the features unlocked. So without further ado, I really want to hop in and show you all of the features and how this app works and show you why I'm super excited about it. So let's go. So we're going to start with the setup of all of the information that you need to get this app up and going. So from the first page, we're going to go straight to the settings. In the settings, you're going to see all the options that you have. We're going to go straight into configuration. In this area, you see all the options you have to add, edit, and customize the app to your liking. You can set a passcode, you can set an alarm, you can do quick add, set your languages, autocomplete, show descriptions, time input. You could choose your income and expense colors, which is either blue or red. You can have your carryover settings turned on. So that means that when it's the end of the month, whatever's left in your bank is going to be carried over into the next month. You can choose the day of the week that you want the app to program as the first day of the week. You could choose the date that you're going to be starting. I chose the first of every month. You could set up your start screen, which is either daily or calendar. The start screen is when you first open the app, it looks like this. and the daily or the calendar, you can have the option to see either of these ones before anything else on the app. So I have mine to set to daily. You can choose your subcurrency and your main currency. Mine is Canadian, your subcurrency is US. There are a lot of different currencies. If you just press the plus button, you'll have access to all of them. And as you can see, they have a lot of currencies that you could use. And you go back, and then you have your main currency. We're going to focus more up here because this is where we have to input more information. So we're going to start with your income category settings. All you have to do is click on it, and then it shows you all of the income. Salary, checks, stuff like that was already there. I added a few other ones. So to add a new category, you just press the plus button in the corner up here. So we're going to do plus, and let's say we have child support. Let's say support. Let's just say support payments. And then we do save. So that's how you add the category, and it shows up right over here. If you want to delete a category, you just press the minus button. If you want to edit a category, you would just press the pencil. If you want to move a category up and down, you would press and drag the category with using these three lines. So for example, we're dragging refund up here. We're going to delete interest payments by pressing the minus button and then the garbage can. And you can edit the dividend section this way. So if you want to add subcategories, this should be turned on. And as you can see here, I have a few subcategories. To add a subcategory, you would just click on the pencil and it would take you to the category itself. And then you would just click add. And then that's how you could add a category. So let's say tax refund. And then it would show up as a subcategory here. Now to go back, you just press the back button over here. And as you can see, now we have one subcategory and it says the tax refund. So that's how we add categories and subcategories for the income. The concept is the same with the expense settings. So if we click on, you see that they give you your default settings, your default categories, sorry, and the same concept applies, right? Minus to delete, pencil to edit, hamburger menu, usually they call it, but these three lines to move it around. Turn on the subcategories so you can have access to these subcategories, and to add a expense category, we do plus. So let's add a expense category right away. We're going to do miscellaneous and save, and then you see it right at the bottom here. To add the subcategory, we could just simply click on the actual pencil or just click on the actual category itself, and it takes you to the miscellaneous section. Add a subcategory, sorry, then it's the plus button. Miscellaneous, let's put entertainment just for fun. To see what happens, we go back and there it is, right there. To delete it, again, you would just press the minus button here. The garbage can pops up and you just press on the garbage can and it'll go away. And then we just press back to go back. If you want to turn the subcategories on for everything, you can just press it over here and it would turn it on. Next, we're going to do our budget setting. This is where we set our budget initially. So we click through. Again, it gives you some preset categories. Same concept applies. Minus to erase, plus to add. These lines up here, the two triangles, mean that that's how we move the categories around. It doesn't have the three lines next to it anymore, as you can see. And when we actually press on the actual area, the category, it drops down and shows all of the subcategories. So you can actually have a budget for all of your subcategories, and then it would show as a total budget for the actual category itself. If you were to click through on the category itself, so this arrow, it would take you to the budget for the whole year. Right now it says 0 because I haven't set a budget for household. I actually set budgets for the subcategories of the household. So if I put rent,
it shows all of my rent budget for the entire year. This is really great because you don't have to continuously update it. It's just there every month. And if something were to change, then you could actually go in here and set it up in advance so that you don't have to continuously be making changes and updates if you don't need to do that. So for example, if I do shopping, yes, sorry. I know that at Christmas time, I spend more money, so I've changed it here to $500. But let's say birthdays, or let's say Halloween actually. So in October, let's say I want to add an extra $50. So I would press clear, and then I would add the extra $50 that I want to add. So I'm actually going to do just 200 flat, save, and you see that nothing else is affected, only the ones that you have changed. The default budget is still overall 151 and 54, but when you do get to October and December, you will see that these amounts will be applied to those budgets. So now we just go back. And if you want to add a budget, again, you can just do the plus. So we're going to add a budget. Let's add for the category. So we could choose the category at the bottom over here to make a budget for it. So let's do business expenses. I'm going to do $100 a month, let's say. And then you just will hit save, and that will update your budget. As you can see over here, business is $100. If I break it down, business expenses is actually business expenses that are $100. So that's how you would set up your budget in this app. Then you would just go back. And then next we take a look at the repeat settings. So repeat settings are just those expenses that you know come through every month or every 6 months or every year, quarterly, and you could just set them up in here so that you don't have to continuously go back into the app and enter them. They're just already preset for those dates. So right over here, we have an option that says on the date. If we click through to that, this pops up for the timing of the reflection. So it depends on what you want to set up. You could set your expenses up to be on the first of every month. So a specific expense will go through the first of every month. But the default is on the date, and I think that you should keep it that way so that you can enter different types of expenses and they'll actually go through on a specific date that you set. We'll just come out of here, and now we'll actually take the time and we'll enter a repeat setting. So we do that by hitting the plus in the corner, and then this page pops up and they ask you how often you want to repeat this expense. So let's choose the end of the month, what account it's going to come from. When you press on account, your accounts show up down here. I'm going to choose my main account. Let's say it's just the bank fee. So under subscriptions, that's where I have bank fees, and the amount is $15.95 per month, let's say. You could add a note, you could add a description, and then you just hit save, and then you'll see it pop up right over here as an expense. Now, if I want to go back to the ad, I want to just point something out. When you choose, let's say I'm going to choose every month. If you take a look up here, you can choose to set up a transfer every month or any time that you decide to have it repeating an expense or a certain income. So if you're working a salary job and every single month or every single 2 weeks you get the same amount of money and you know that that's the money that's coming in, you can just set it up here so you don't have to continuously enter it all the time. It'll just pop up by itself on those days that you choose. Just going to go back, and that's how you set up the repeat settings. If you wanted to delete any, you can just press the garbage can, and the same concept, right? You do the minus and then the garbage pops up, and then you can delete it that way. So now we're just going to go back to our settings, and we're going to take a look at the accounts. This is where we set up all of our accounts. So here we have individual options as well for setting up our accounts. We're going to start with setting up our account groups. So again, just like the income and the expenses, everything is listed here. They give you your defaults, and then the ones that I added are right over here. If you want to take it away, you have to do the minus. These ones are not editable. They're not deletable, sorry, but you do have the option to edit and to move it around. And here here would be where you were to add a new account group. So to add an account group, we do the plus, then we select the name. Let's say it's going to be my wallet. So we have cash, but let's say what's in my wallet. Then you hit save, and then it actually appears down here. So it's not structured how the income and the expenses are structured, where you do the subcategories or the sub account groups in this section. What we're actually going to do is we're going to go back, and then under account settings, that's when you would add your specific accounts. So you see over here, you would have the account group, which is cash, accounts, even all the way down to the investments. And then to add an actual account under those groups, you would have to hit the plus button over here. So I do plus, you choose your account group. We're going to choose wallet because I just added that. And then we add our account information for the wallet. So the wallet would be, I'm just going to put my wallet. Let's say I have $100 in my wallet. You can choose the currency. I'm just leaving it as regular. But if you have a US dollar, if you have a US cash on you and you want to keep track of it, you can actually just choose your secondary currency. If you have a different currency, you could actually add a currency here and all the currencies would pop up for you to choose. And then you hit save, and then this pops up and it wants to know if you want to record the difference as income. And I'm going to put no because it's not income, it's just cash that I have. I'm just doing the initial setup. In the future, if you want to add an income directly into the account in the account settings, then you could choose yes. But for this case, I'm going to say no. I want to just direct your attention to the card section because here it requires more information. So it asks you for your settlement date and your payment date, and it asks you for your balance payable, your outstanding balance, and it just sets up differently than a regular account. So just to keep that in mind. So now that we're done here, we can go back, and in these sections, it's just the account groups that get deleted. So if you delete an account group, it goes here. I guess you could reinstate it from here if you would want to. And then you have your transfer expense setting, and your card expense display configuration. I would just leave those as is. I wouldn't go and edit them, but it's just asking you if you want to set up the transfer as an expense to the accounts from the accounts that are like your cash and your bank. So these, I would just leave them how they are. I wouldn't change anything. You can read through this and you can decide for yourself. I've just left it like that. And the same thing for your card. I just left it at the time. So you can enter your expenses. You're not going to do it as a lump sum. It'll throw off your graphs and all your information and expenses anyways. So now we're just going to go back to our main page here, where if you want, you can set up a passcode. The PC Manager, I'm going to do a separate video for that because this one's going to be already too long. You can set up your backup and you can change your style if you want to in the background. So if we're going to go on style, it asks you if you want to do system mode, you could do dark mode, or you could have it how I have it, where I selected a color. So we're just going to go back, and that concludes the actual setup of your account and your accounts and your expenses and your income and your budget. So next we're going to take a look at the transactions and how to enter them and everything that you can do there. Okay, so now we're going to enter transactions. To do that, we're going to just click on the transaction button below, which will take us to our main page. To enter a transaction, we're going to click on the plus button, which will take us to our transaction page, which has plenty of options. As you can see at the top here, we have the option to enter it as income, expense, or as a transfer. We have a little star over here for the bookmarks. We have the repeat and installment button that we can use. And at the bottom here is where you're going to see all of the information that we entered before. So the expense categories, the income categories, and our accounts are going to populate this area to give us the option so that we can enter each expense. So what we're going to do for the first transaction, I'm going to choose one from my favorites or my bookmarked ones. When I was using this app before, I was entering a lot of similar expenses. So I decided to just book them and use them again in the future if I needed to use them. So we just press on the one that we choose. I'm choosing the Fido. It gives you all of the information that you had already entered before. So it saves a lot of time doing it this way if you know that there's something you're going to be continuously having that transaction and you don't want to set it up as a reoccurring or repeating expense, then you can just do it this way also. So we're just going to hit save and it's going to pop up over here. Now let's try a different transaction. We're going to enter an expense manually. So we hit the plus button over here again. It's already defaulted to expense, so we're good. The date, that's today. The account, we're going to choose from down here. So I'm going to choose my petty cash, let's say for business. The category, we choose from here. And then on this side, we'll see all the subcategories that we entered. So let's say it's for food. And let's say it's going to be, we're going to choose eating out. Amount, let's say it's $20. And then we can either put a note, a description, or we could just hit save. Again, let's try another transaction. Plus, let's do an income this time. We still see our accounts, so we're having income in, let's say, RBC main. Again, our categories for income populate here. The subcategories will populate over here. We'll say it's refund, and it's a store refund of $60. Save, and it shows up over here. Another one plus. So over here, down here, I should also point out that it showed like this because I chose to have it displayed this way. But if you click on these squares, it makes it look like the other one. So your account categories will populate here, and then your subcategories will populate right over here. So this time we're doing a transfer. So let's get a transfer in. So it shows us our account categories. We're going to do from our main account to our credit card account. And let's say we're paying $100. We put it there. You could put a note for a payment, and then you hit save, and it's finished. It displays right over here. So you'll also notice that the different colors of the expenses are red, the income is blue, and when you make a transfer, it just stays gray. So let's add something else so we can take a look at what else we have here. Now, I mentioned before we have the repeat and the installment. So when you click on that, you can set up this expense that you're going to enter as a repeat expense, or you can set it up as an installment. When you click on installment, it actually asks you how many months. So let's say we have 24 months to pay down an amount on some furniture we bought. You click done, and then it shows right over here that it will reoccur for once a month for 24 months, this one payment that you have. Then again, you click and you could choose your account. So let's say your other account category is household furniture, $50 a month, save it, and it's going to continuously show up every single month towards that bigger expense, or installment, should I say. Another question you might have is, how do we split transactions? You didn't see this option here. There is no option to actually split a transaction, but there is an option to actually have the calculator, as you can see at the bottom over here. And using the calculator, you can see the calculator over here. Using the calculator, you can actually add multiple bills together. So let's say we have 52 plus 96 for all of the transportation that you spent this month, bus passes, whatever they be. You could do equals, done, and it puts the number in for you. But you cannot split the transactions. If you have multiple transactions for different categories on one bill, you would have to enter them individually, unfortunately. And then you just hit save, and the transaction gets put into your daily spending. So what if you have a transaction for a category that you have not set up. Well, you can easily set up categories from this page by hitting the edit button. So it could be from an account you don't have. Hitting that button will take you to your account settings. If you go to the category, again, pressing the pencil will take you to the category expenses where you could simply add accounts that you don't already have. So you don't have to go all the way into the configuration to actually set up those accounts. So that pretty much wraps it up for entering your transactions. Over here, there's a little notepad, and you can actually keep notes on a daily basis. I put some notes here. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. And another note that I put is I spent too much money. So to add a note, you would just press the add note button over here, and then you can add whatever little notes you want to add. You could actually choose the color from right up here, and you want to put this color. That's cool. You press back, and then the note stays that color right over there. So that's if you want to add notes, and then the note will actually show up right here on the date. So that's pretty cool. So that really would wrap up what we'd have for entering invoices. For entering expenses, sorry, and income and transfers. Next, what we're going to take a look at is the actual graphs. So the statistics, which is just that button over here. We're just going to take a look and see what is available and how we can monitor our budgeting and if our budget is actually working for us. All right, so now we're going to check out the charts and graphs that we have available to us. So this is what it looks like when you go into the charts and graphs section. You have it separated by income and expenses, and then you can select the period that you would want to see for. So if I choose weekly, the graph will look different. I can choose my own period, and then up here I would edit the dates. I can choose annually for the whole entire year, which would give me everything that I've entered so far. But first we're going to do monthly. And then over here, we have the pie chart breaking down all of our spending for the month. And down here is where we would see all of our spending based on each category, but in list form. So if you click on any part of the pie chart, it separates itself, shows you exactly the amount that was spent. If you go to income, it's pretty much the same thing, where the income has come from. If you click on one of these items, it takes you to a full breakdown of everything that you spent in that month, including a chart. But the most important thing here is that it's household, but it shows you the breakdown of the subcategories that you actually spent that money in. If you want to switch months, it would just be up here. You would just go back and forth, and then you'll be able to see what you spent in each of those months. This is not the only place where you would find graphs. If you go to the accounts right over here, at the top, you would see this little graph. And if you click on the graph, it gives you a breakdown of what's all in your accounts, what came in, how much was spent, and it just gives you a bunch of details just by clicking on that graph. Clicking on an actual account will have the same effect. You have the graph up here, click on it, and it shows you the activity in that account. This one is just for the overall based on your net worth, which you can find just by looking at the top here. And you can check it out in graph mode and go back, click on any category, check it in graph mode. If you want to go back to list mode, you just click those three lines up there, and it goes back into your list mode. Okay, so now that we have looked at our graphs and charts, We're just going to take a quick overview look at navigating through the app, the different features that they have, the different ways that we can see our information. Okay, so now we're going to just take a look at the actual layout of the app. At the bottom here, you see you have your menu for your settings, your accounts, your stats, and your transactions. We're going to go back to the transaction page. And from here, you have many different options on how you can look at your spending and on your budget. You can see it daily, which is what we have here, which shows the transactions by day. When you click on calendar, it shows you the transactions by day, but in calendar form. If I go to one that's more populated, you will see, oh, sorry, not this year. You'll see how it looks. And then you have the option to see your spending for every week. So your income and then your expenses are over here for each week. Then you have the option also to see it by month. So it can give you a good idea. You can see everything month by month, and you can really pinpoint the months that you're overspending in. If you go to the totals tab, this is where you have your budget set up and where it's being tracked. You can also access your budget settings from this page also. So it takes us back to the page where we set everything up before. And as usual, by actually clicking on the category, you get the drop down list and you can see exactly where you're spending or where you're overspending. And scrolling down at the bottom here, you get a nice little summary of your expenses and your cards and everything like that. So it's pretty interesting. And then you also have the option to export it to Excel right over here. There's also a search button and a filter button at the top here so that you can search certain transactions. You can filter certain transactions that you would want to see. If we go onto the stats, again, clicking through things will help you see everything that you're spending, looking for more populated months so you can see everything in one spot. So this is the end of the tutorial, and I think that I've covered everything that there is to cover for using this app. There are a lot of different options, and I will come with my review in a separate video. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!